Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Divorce Diaries. I'm Shira Shenkman, and it's my co-host, Avi Solomon, and our amazing guest, Fay Berland.
Hi.
Hi, Fay. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We're so excited to have you. We recently heard that you got married 6 weeks ago, so mazel tov.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I heard that you have an interesting story about how you met your husband. So I want to start off letting everyone know this amazing story that you have.
Oh my gosh. It is one for the books. Oh my gosh. So I've known my husband for a long time. We were friends first for many years. And, we always just hung out in like a group of people, going here, going there. We went out together, sometimes to dinner, sometimes to lunch, sometimes to places, And there was never anything between us, nothing, zero. Until one evening on Yom HaAtzmaut, he used to go back and forth a lot to Israel. His main business was in Israel, so he used to travel back and forth a lot. And he called me up out of the blue on Yom HaAtzmaut. Fay, do you want to go to a Yom HaAtzmaut party? And I said, sure, but first can we go to dinner? I haven't seen you in ages. Let's chill, let's talk. Because at a party, it's loud music, you can't hear, you can't talk. It's like, of course, I'll take you to Mr. Broadway. So we're sitting in Mr. Broadway. And all of a sudden, something clicked. Just boom. But you know what he tells me? He was very honest from day one. He said, Fay, he's sitting across me at the table, and he goes, Fay, I'm telling you right now, below zero chance I'm ever getting married in the next 20 years. Below zero chance I'm ever going to marry you. Not because it's you, because you're American, okay? Because I married an American the first time, and I always said, I'm never going to do it again. I'm going to marry an Israeli because he's Israeli. I'd rather be shot in the desert than marry an American girl. And I'm like, okay. I thought to myself, okay, challenge accepted. And I went along with it. And I was myself, and I showed him who I was. And it took time. I was dating him 5 years. But Baruch Hashem, I'm now married to a guy that said, I'm never going to marry an American. I'd rather be shot in the desert than marry an American girl. Hello.
Mazel tov, mazel tov. Do you think, I'm not a woman, so I don't know. Do most women have that approach to dating? Like when someone says, we are never getting married, we could date, but we're never getting married. Do most women say challenge accepted, or is that unique to you, Fay?
It's just very unique. I'm a very unique type of personality. A lot of women would have never had the patience that I did. I can't speak for everybody, but from what I know from women's perspectives, it's like, why should I have to wait 5 years? And people also telling me, Fay, walk away from him. He's never going to marry you. And what are you wasting your life? So you know what I would say to them? Oh, okay. Let's say if I left him tomorrow, chas v'shalom, you have another guy waiting for me on the white horse on the corner? You have somebody else that's better, that you feel is better for me? No. Okay. So leave me alone. It was all background noise for me. You know what I mean? It's very nice. People are concerned. I get it. Trust me. But at the end of the day, it was what I wanted. I knew that this guy was the right one for me. And I was willing to wait patiently for this guy because I knew in my heart, my neshama was telling me that this is my zivug, this is my bashert, and I have to wait for him.
So what made him change his mind?
So I was sitting in the car with him. This is about 2.5 years or maybe close to 3 years that we were together. And I said to him, you know what? Israelit. You're going to come back like a puppy. Like a killer. Go with your Israeli girl. Go ahead. Yalla.
Wait, I'm sorry. You told them he could go and date someone else and be with someone else?
No, I said because all he wanted was an Israeli girl. That was his strong...
No, but you were giving him permission to date someone else?
I was giving him permission to go find your Israeli girl, and you're going to come back like a puppy.
And that was a serious thing? He could have dated someone else?
Yeah, but... yes. But let me tell you. Then he stopped to think, because Israeli women are more tough, which is... Right? So they're more tough.
They have to be.
Right? Israeli women are tough. Which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, I'm saying. But what my husband wanted was not tough girls. He wants easygoing, go with the flow, take it 1 minute at a time, 1 day at a time, and that's my personality. I'm a very easygoing gal. And so he actually took it like, wow, you have a point, Faye, and he flipped his entire mind from that statement that I made to him,
Wow. Wow. And here you are.
Here I am.
6 weeks later.
Married.
Oh my gosh.
After a very long haul. And I built such a beautiful relationship with him. And Baruch Hashem, we are so happy.
You should continue to have mazel and bracha.
Amen. Amen.
So, Faye, I know that you're a woman of many talents, and we're going to get to everything, so stay tuned. But the first thing that I want to touch on is that you're a shadchan.
Correct.
You made a few matches, and we want to ask you some questions regarding...
Bring it on.
Yeah. So I know that there are a lot of views on being a shadchan, like using a shadchan. I myself have never used one. I don't know whether you have, Avi.
I've used shadchanim many times.
Okay.
So my question is, both Avi and I are curious, what do you find is the biggest reason why people turn each other away?
Okay. The biggest reason why people turn each other away, to be completely honest, is because the singles today are extremely picky, like especially with looks. And it's a huge problem today in our society. And, we watch, the fairy tale movies and how the princess is coming and she's a thick, skinny model, and people are so focused on looks instead of looking on the inside of a person. The first thing they look at a picture, no, she's not for me. The girl looks at a picture, no, he's not for me. Why not? He's not my type. He's not good looking enough. She's not pretty enough. She's not skinny enough. She's not this enough. She's not that. Like all these excuses they make. And that's that. That's the main
Do you think there has to be any attraction? Or in other words, that's a big, large scale that needs some clarification. What if they say there's zero attraction whatsoever?
Of course there has to be attraction. Yes, 100% agree with you on that one. But just by looking at a picture, and you're going to turn a person down right away with a picture. This is why, to be honest with you, I cannot stand dealing with resumes. I take them because I need a profile. I need information on the person. I like to do video calls with people or in-person conversations to get to know them deeper on a deeper level. I don't just take a piece of paper and say, here's a guy, here's a girl, and say, Chaim, it's just a cup of coffee. What do you have to lose? In the meantime, it's the complete opposite of what he's looking for. And there's nothing to talk about because it's two different people.
What are you saying? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
What do you do when someone like me, let's say you are being a shadchan for me, and I say I need a picture? Do you try and talk me out of that, or do you sympathize with that position?
No, I would definitely show you a picture, but instead to look at the picture and right away say, no way, Jose, talk to the girl on the phone, have a conversation, see if you guys will meet for a coffee. You don't have to go on a first date to the fanciest restaurant in the world. Just sit and have a conversation with somebody. You never know what can happen. That's just life. People have to give more of a chance for someone. So many people are turning down people left and right there's no reason for it. People are saying, people tell me all the time, I'm dying to get married. I'm dying to have kids. I'm dying to have a family. Okay. But you're turning down literally every single person I'm sending you. So how are you going to ever find someone?
I have to admit there's some truth to that. When I was in college and I was working at a grocery store at nights to pay my bills, there was someone who came to my register. And I used to think, before this, there has to be, a lot of attraction. This person was not so attractive, in my opinion, but they had a personality that just shone through it all. And it was just incredible. And I saw from that you really can fall for someone with a great personality. It doesn't just have to be about the looks.
Yeah, for me, actually. So I dated someone for a couple months, and I did like him, but as much as I tried, I I just wasn't attracted to him. I tried everything, and that wasn't the only reason why I stopped it, but I couldn't do it.
Right.
Wait, so that's why you said no to me?
Funny, Abby.
But that's the point. That's the point, Shira. At least you gave it a real chance.
Right.
You know what I mean? You didn't just look at the person's picture and say, no, he's not for me.
Correct.
Not my look, not my
Correct.
type. Sorry, next.
Correct.
You actually gave it, what do you say, 2.5 months, you said?
Yeah.
That's enough time to realize if a person's for you or not.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it'll take a little bit longer. Maybe it'll take a little bit less. But at least you gave it a real chance. And a lot of the singles don't do what you did. You understand?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question I have is, what do you do when you come across someone who's a nabach? Really, like, I hate using the translation of a loser, but he's like a ninja. He's a ninja client. No income, no job, no assets, no real potential there, and not just in the Parnassa area. He doesn't have anything going for him. Like, when someone like that, whether it's a boy or a girl, comes to you, what do you do?
So I give everybody a chance, you know, and I try to help them with whatever challenges in life that they have, that they're going through. Everyone has challenges, everyone has difficulties, everyone has things, but I really try to help the person to be able to be the best partner for somebody, the best person to be able to go out with the best foot forward. And I really try my best with each client I have. The only time I actually had to turn down one client a couple months ago, because we're talking about going back to the looks thing, if that's okay with you guys. We're talking, and then he said, oh, I want a 114-pound stick skinny model. And he himself was not a Jean Noir or a Brad Pitt, okay? Let's talk like that. And, excuse me. Okay, so I said to him, let's say if I found you a 113-pound perfect stick skinny model, okay, Baruch Hashem, wonderful, let's do it. And then you get married, stress of life, she has a baby, she gains weight. What would you do? I'll divorce her, she says. What kind of nonsense is this? You agree with me? It's ridiculous. Like seriously. So I say, you know what? I wish you all the best. I'm not the matchmaker for you. Good luck. Take care.
So I have never used a shadchan. So what can you say to convince me to use a shadchan?
Okay. First of all, I'm going to add on this comment that I don't convince anyone to do anything. Mm-hmm. People have to want something for themselves. And I'm very unique. I'm not your typical matchmaker or shadchan. I don't push anyone to work with me. I don't force you to do anything you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And I definitely don't force you to go out with someone you wouldn't want to go out with, which some matchmakers or shadchans do that, which is, again, I think it's amazing what matchmakers do in general. Mm-hmm. I'm not chas v'shalom trying to put anyone down. I'm not that type of person to do that. People know that about me. I'm just saying every matchmaker has a different approach. My approach is I speak with you for at least an hour. I go deep with you, whether it's in person, whether it's video, because I'm a people person. That's just who I am. I don't just take a piece of paper, like I said before. And it may take me time to find you someone. For example, like I had a client, and I met this person a couple weeks ago, and they're nonstop sending me everyday messages. You have someone for me, you have someone, it's taking so long. It's like 2 weeks ago. Some people, I have 7-8 months already that I'm trying to look. But the problem is that I would first, basically, usually what I do is let's say it's you, right? And let's say I'm sending your resume to a guy, and then he says no. So whatever the case, but then let's say it was the opposite. Like, let's say if I would send you a guy, and you say, I like him, and then he tells me you're not for him. As a woman,
that's emotional. Like, women are already emotional.
Yeah.
Women take it,
women
I think, more personally.
Very more emotional. They take it more personally. So I take my time to find people, to find singles matches. It's not easy, because a lot, like we were discussing earlier, a lot of singles turn many people down over
Right.
and over and over.
Mhm.
And again, I'm not here to convince you to do anything, but I think that my approach is the most unique approach that any other matchmaker does.
So
in
really
my
finding
opinion.
a matchmaker is almost like finding a shidduch, because you have to find the right matchmaker for you, who you vibe with, who understands you, who can listen to you. So it
Yeah.
sounds like you really
Yeah.
do that. You take the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Shira, if you don't mind, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
So you said you haven't used the shadchan.
Yeah.
What, especially since you told me your background, you came from a regular Beis Yaakov in Baltimore,
Right. Yeah.
Beis Yaakov background in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Why are you? Do you have a position against shadchanim as a rule? And also, if you're not using shadchanim, what do you find are effective ways of finding and meeting people to date?
Oh, that's a great question. So I really feel that I have to do my hishtadlus. I have to put myself out there. At the same time, like, I feel like I'm really, really busy as a single mom, and it takes time to go to a shadchan. So I would rather go to events and meet people on my own and find someone organically. Because with my first marriage, I'm not saying it was a shadchan's fault, God forbid. I'm just saying I went through a shadchan, and I feel like that system is a great system for a lot of people. But you do sound different. But I don't want anyone to lie to me and tell me things that aren't true, or they don't know the guy enough. I would rather find out myself organically about the guy. But I am on Saw You at Sinai, YU Connects, and they are like shadchanim.
Yeah, but how do you know they're not lying on their profile? It says, I had a friend once who said, I'm in sales. Now, this was when I was in college. He was working at a register right next to me, but he was in sales.
Right.
So how do you know that they're being honest on their profile?
I don't, but they have references that I can call. But also, it's nice because you can just click X and you don't have to give a reason why. And with a lot of shadchanim are pushy, and they stretch the truth, if I may say. So not all of them. Not all of them.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Fay,
Not me.
since you're a shadchan, can you defend shadchanim here? And there's a lot of shadchanim that may be watching this, and they're like, they may not like what she just said. So can you defend shadchanim here, that they're not pushy and that they're very good to work with?
Yes, most matchmakers on shadchanim are very good to work with when you find the right shadchan or matchmaker that works best for you. Like I said, every matchmaker, every shadchan has different approaches how they work, and depending on what type of shadchan you're looking for, it's always best, like you said, to do your hishtadlus, to do your homework, to do your research, and find the best person.
Do you mind if I also add a defense for them?
Go ahead.
So I also think that, like, I right now am in business. I have been in business for years. Sometimes you can see something as an outside objective person that the person who's dating can't necessarily see. So when they're pushing, it could be they're just focused on getting shots on the scalp, or it could be that they see something that maybe the two couples dating, because they're emotionally involved, don't see. And they're saying, you know what? Or that they had a conversation with them. When two people have a conversation dating, that is very different than two people when it's, this is who I am. Who do you think you have for me? So I would say there is some validity that some shadchanim push for the wrong reasons. And some shadchanim push for the right reasons. And it's very hard to know which is which.
I also think your situation is unique because you have been divorced and you know what that's like to be pushed, or, I don't know, did you see shadchanim?
I did not see shadchanim.
You didn't? Okay. All right. So you hear my point just a little bit. Just finding someone organically. I'm not bashing shadchanim.
Oh, I wasn't
not,
trying to imply you
Yeah,
were.
chas v'shalom, we're not bashing anybody.
No.
Some of us still need to get married, so we don't need to.
But I do think it's really interesting and nice that I would definitely consider coming to you if I don't find someone organically. But you also understand what it's like to be divorced.
Yes.
I
was divorced for a long time before I met my now husband.
Do you mind me asking how long you've been divorced?
13 years.
That is long. That's long.
And I have one son from my first, and he's going to be 20.
Wow.
And, Yeah, he's my life. He was my life. I did the best I could as a single mom, and it wasn't easy, but thank God, Baruch Hashem, I had emunah and faith in Hashem and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he guided me in the right direction.
Now, there is a topic that, I just defended shadchanim, but this is one area where I take issue. Way back in the day, it used to be shadchanim didn't charge anything for their services, only if they made a match. Today, it's a different world. A lot of shadchanim, they want money up front, not all, and they have a very good argument, which is they're putting time in. But, the argument back is there are many brokers that put time into a real estate deal. Someone who's a real estate broker doesn't see a penny unless the deal closes. So, A, do you request some money up front for your time? And can you defend that position of shadchanim who want money up front?
Yes, I charge a small one-time fee, very little. I charge $65 to have a consultation with me. Usually it takes about an hour, something a little less, something a little more, just for my time and efforts, because people don't realize in the outside of what I do how much time and effort and energy it takes to even forget about just looking through people's profiles and talking to them, whether it's video or in person or whatever the case, for them to even agree to even talk to the other person. Then the other person has to agree. It's like a whole process. It takes time. I know shadchans that charge thousands of dollars before even making an actual marriage. I'm talking about to even work with a person. Yeah. I know a shadchan that charges $5,000.
I also know girls who have told me on dates that they gave a shadchan, zell me $600 and I'll work on your shidduch. Never heard from them again. And Zell, you can't get the money back. So, again, I think both sides have arguments, but I still currently work with a policy that, and I'm open to changing it, but I'm old fashioned. That I pay for an actual shidduch going through. But I completely. Let me ask you something. When you say $65, does that mean if you make a match, you don't want shadchanas geld, or on top of that, you want
that's a separate thing.
That's a separate thing. Okay.
So it's what they can afford. It's like some shadchans have like a set fee. If I make your marriage, I want to charge $10,000. This is not what it's about for me. Yes, it's nice to, I know someone told me if I find the shidduch, he's going to give me $30,000.
$30,000?
Yeah. I didn't even ask
Can I have the guy's name and number? I'll try and find him. Shira, are you dating right now? Shira, we'll go 50-50 on it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's all split it the three-way. We'll split it three ways.
That's funny.
No, so I'm not here to pinch people's pennies. I'm not here to take a significant amount of money for making their match. It's what they can afford. Sometimes one side could afford $1,500, the other side can afford $1,000. Depends on the person's financial situation.
What if someone says I have $20 to my name?
Oh, if they have $20 to their name, how are they going to make a wedding?
I'm just again. There are people that you didn't. Like I said, there are people who are nebuchs that they don't have a job.
I do think though that there's an inyan actually to pay the shadchan.
There is absolutely an inyan.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't have to also be through money. It could be through gift giving.
No, shadchanim like the cash is king.
I'm saying, but if they have $20 to their name, which is an unlikely scenario, but if they do, it is appropriate to show a karsatov.
If I was a shadchan, I would say if you only have $20 to your name, how did you pay for the dates?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to transition also because you're not only a shadchan, but you also said to me and Shira that you're a life coach.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to ask you, I have a lot of questions about coaches. I have some friends who are actually life coaches, and I do use a dating coach, and it's very, very helpful. My question to you is, what is the difference between a life coach and a therapist?
Okay. So a therapist is licensed through going to college and going through schooling and everything, which is great. A life coach is a certification. So it's less time. You get a certification, excuse me. And that's the difference. And what you're taught, when you go to school for psychology, is completely different from what you're taught to being a life coach. And as a life coach, you kind of have a little bit more flexibility with certain things. For example, when you go to college, one of the things they teach you is ethics, right? How to behave around, people, what to say, what not to say, right? Okay. So as a life coach, I feel you can kind of, I don't know if it's the right way to say it, push, not boundaries really, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of, let's say, like for example, I have someone that messaged me last night, 10 o'clock at night. Do you think a psychologist would ever message back a person at 10 o'clock at night?
Probably not.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's more personable?
It's more personable, 100%. Yes.
Okay.
It's more personable.
So is there any overlap as the shadchan and the life coach where you're talking to someone and then you realize this person needs he needs guidance before he's ready to date? And so that's I did also want to ask you, I forgot to ask you when we were talking about your shadchanis, do you only work on divorced people?
I work with everybody.
You work with everyone. Okay, fine. So now back to my question is, do you find that there's an overlap?
An overlap? I mean,
meaning that sometimes you talk to someone and you realize that, let's say they're divorced, and they're still not over an issue, they're not over a certain issue from the previous marriage, and you realize it could be a problem. Do you get involved? Do you say, you know what, I'm also a life coach, and I think that we need to have a session about this topic that you seem to be still holding on to? Did I clarify my question?
Yeah. So basically like this, I would try to get this person, whoever he or she is, to ask themselves, why do you feel this way, right? What do you think you need to do to be able to be healthier on the inside? Because until a person is healthy on the inside, they're not going to attract the right people in general. Doesn't matter whether it's guys, whether it's friends, whether it's a partner, whether it's a husband. They're going to keep going they keep going through the same cycles over and over and over. And the only way to break the patterns that people do all the time is to realize, I have a problem. I need help. Who's the best person to help me? What do I need to do to fix this issue? And until a person's ready to admit that, there's nothing that anyone can do to help them. And yes, I try to talk them through it, and I try to say, if, we can work on this, sometimes they'll say, no, I don't have a problem. I don't need help. I'm perfect. I'm great. I'm fine, But at the end of the day, if they would just try to admit to what their issue is, I can then better help them both in life coaching and also in the dating world.
Do you life coach just divorced people? Do you life coach people who are married? What type of people?
So I usually do divorced people and singles and also couples, because there are so many couples out there that are on the verge of divorce that I believe that the marriage can be saved. I think that there's a lot of couples out there that are just going through a rough time. They're having what they call a rough patch, right? All couples have that, I'm sure. That there's no such thing as a perfect couple in the world. Everybody has their own issue. And if they would work through it with the right person, then I feel that a lot more marriages can be saved, especially when you have kids involved. Okay.
I'm going to throw a curveball. Are you
Go
ready?
Go ahead.
It's a very big curveball.
Throw it at me.
What if someone says, I don't love my wife anymore. I don't love her. I don't see that changing. But we have children together. Do you tell them to stay together for the children? Or do you tell them that if you don't love them, there's nothing to talk about?
First of all, I would ask the person, what happened that you fell out of love? Was it something that specifically happened? Was it from day one you didn't love the person, but you felt pressured? Because a lot of people in the yeshiva world, being a Beis Yaakov
yes,
girl, and
yes.
you went to yeshiva, I'm
She
sure.
burnt my toast. No, that's a Gemara. It's a Gemara. The Gemara says that Rabbi Akiva says even if she burns your toast, but no.
Gosh.
But let's say
So
not burnt the toast, but something a little bit more extreme.
so there's a
Talks
lot.
to me with a lot of disrespect. Doesn't ever treat me like I'm a person. Treats me like I'm garbage, and I don't see that changing.
Well, that's different than falling out of love.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That
Okay.
is true.
Yeah. So there's a way to handle certain things in a relationship. For example, a husband comes home from a long day of work. If we have 4 or 5 kids running around screaming or trying to get dinner ready, the bath time ready, whatever the case. And the husband walks in. And it's the way a person to speak to each other. It's called communication, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If a husband walks in and the woman starts saying, "No, hurry up! What's going on? Take off your coat already! You have to help me with the kids!" That in itself can make you feel negative feelings towards your wife if you would walk home and she would speak to you that way. Correct?
I agree.
Okay. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, instead for the woman to appreciate the guy, okay, and say, "Wow, honey, welcome home. How was your day? Thank you so much for working so hard for our family. Take a few minutes. There's dinner ready on the table. When you're done, can you please, if you don't mind, would you please help me with the children and get them ready for bed?" You see the difference in the tone of my voice?
I see the difference. I want to throw something out here, and you, Shira, Fay, either or could refute me. I think that, everyone uses communication. It became like its selling point. It's like Amunah and Betachan.
Yeah.
There's like 50 books on Amunah. There's a lot of people whose Amunah and Betachan is they make money off selling books on Amunah and Betachan. I think communication is the same thing. Do I agree communication is essential to a relationship? Absolutely. But I think that people use it. What happens, you have someone who, he comes in, he says, let's say the wife, because that's your example. She says, "How was your day? Was work hard?" She gives him that. And then she's like, "And now I need you to help me put the kids to bed." And he's like, no, I'm not interested. Right? So in the end of the day, it's like she's using communication. He's not using communication. Or you could do it vice versa. I think communication is essential, but people use it today like it's a marketing word for relationships. Any thoughts?
Wow.
I just want to add
What
on
a
to that.
curveball that was.
I kind of agree because I know that I was very respectful to my ex and it didn't work out. And I don't know. I just like...
Communication has to be a two-way street.
It does have to be a two-way street. It does. Definitely. It can be on either side. Yeah. Okay, but go ahead with continue your example.
100% agree with you. I'm not justifying this what you're saying. Okay. There's 2 people in every relationship. 100%. Each person gives and takes and takes and gives.
Correct.
Everyone has to do both. Every person has to give and take and give and take. It's not just a one-sided relationship.
Correct.
And obviously there are certain relationships that, involve certain things that cannot, unfortunately, if the other person doesn't want to get help, there's nothing to talk about,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
But I'm talking about 2, regular people
Okay.
that are just not communicating in the best way that they could be. And I believe with the help of someone like me as a life coach, someone to guide them in the right way, I can save their relationship.
Got it. So you're not referring to someone with a very complicated situation. You're referring to people who need guidance
Yes.
as a life
proper
coach okay. Do you hear the difference?
I hear the difference. I guess my follow-up would be, do you believe every marriage, exceptions of abuse, we're not talking
That's
about
what I was-
abuse or things like that, do you believe 90% of marriages are salvageable?
I wouldn't
That's a high
say
number.
that's a high
Well,
number.
I said 90% of marriages that are really marriages that are on the brink. I shouldn't say marriages, because there are marriages that are doing great with don't, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But I'm talking about the marriages that are on the brink. Do you believe, what would you say, how many do you think are salvageable, putting aside abuse?
I would say it's a very hard thing to answer because, like what you said, 90% is a very high number. I would give it more around 80 to 85%, I think, can be saved, to be honest.
Have you ever seen success in saving a marriage through life coaching?
Yes.
Or even just improvement?
Yes. You know, I've worked with people that needed just to talk to somebody that gets it. You know, somebody that's going through a hard time, whether it's, you know, because a lot of people today have very low self-esteem, unfortunately, you know, and that stems from how you were brought up. A lot of it comes from childhood traumas. You know, a lot of people have childhood traumas that they never, ever worked on, as like in your inner child, you know, and work on it and rebuild your self-esteem. So a lot of people don't have high self-esteem at all, and I help them build on their self-esteem and how they can be better out there in the world, whether it's a better friend, a better mother, a better wife, or the husband also, same thing, or the person before they're getting married. Everyone has to work on their inner traumas in order to be a healthy person. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And again, I do want to reiterate the fact that I really love that you brought up that they have to understand that they have something to work on, actually. Right. Because if they don't admit it, if they don't do the self-introspection, then there's nothing that really can change unless they're willing to admit that. So that must be hard to see that.
It is.
Wow.
It is hard.
Wow.
You know, it pains me to see so many people struggling with this.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's so obvious to you probably, and it's so hard to see them. It's like self-destruction almost sometimes.
Yeah. And it's very hard.
Can Shira and I just do a little bit of a test here with issues that if they came up to you, how you would approach it? Not the whole hour session, just like real quick. So I guess, Shira, you want to start off with the first one?
Sure. How would you deal with someone that the wife found out that the husband had been arrested in his previous, either in his previous marriage or in his background, and he didn't tell her? That's like really deceitful.
Wow. That's a good one. That's a tough one. I would tell her to approach your partner in a very, obviously, in a nice way, in a calm. Always be calm.
That's hard to be calm when that
I know it's hard to be calm, but I'm telling you, it's just gonna. It's not gonna work in your favor. You come up to your husband and be like, you know what? I found out that you lied to me. How dare you? I found that you were in jail. 100%. Instead of saying, you know, honey, can we sit down? I really would like to speak to you about something when you have a few minutes. I really appreciate it. And just talk it through and see why he had to hold it in from you, why he lied about it, what's the reason for it, why he was arrested. Get all the details, and then as a person, you can then make a decision on how you want to move forward.
So you're basically saying act like mature adults.
Yeah.
Have a conversation.
It also matters probably what they were arrested for. Were they like Breaking Bad and dealing meth?
Right.
Or were they just or was it just
about that show?
or was it just jaywalking? You know, if they were arrested for some minor thing like protesting or something. So probably matters what the arrest was for.
I also think, obviously, it's always best to be honest with someone up front before marrying them. Yes. So this wouldn't come up in the future, because our past always comes to bite us in the, you know what.
100%.
You know, even, you know, with anything, like if you lied about the littlest thing, it could, you know, it always comes back to bite us.
Yeah.
So it's always important to just be honest with the person.
Yes.
And just say, by the way, I just want to let you know something. I was arrested for XYZ back in the day. I was a young, dumb teenager, or I was whatever the case was, by mistake this, by mistake that. And then you could decide for yourself what you wanted to do.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction.
Yes.
What do you do when someone comes with an accusation of cheating? And let's assume it's true. Let's assume the accusation's true. Do you say, that's it, you got to get divorced, or is there a way to try and save that?
Are you saying before they're married, or like was he previously married, and you find out that he had cheated on his first wife?
Let's
he's
say
cheating right now.
A wife is coming and saying that, I just heard a horrible story of cheating. But anyway, where someone wanted to know, they found out, do they tell the spouse? Do they tell it was someone found out that their friend's husband was cheating? Do they tell the spouse? But back to the case, what do you do where you're doing your life coaching and you have a case of someone says one spouse or the other said, well, halakhically, if it's the guy making the accusation, there's nothing to talk about generally because she becomes puzzled. But what happens where the wife is the one saying he cheated on me? Do you say it's over, or do you try and fix it?
Okay, so this is what I would do. And this is a very, very interesting topic, because I know people personally, okay, that they found out their husbands are cheating and they have children, okay? And a lot of them, just to be honest, they just look the other way, because they're good husbands in general. They're good fathers. Yes, don't get me wrong. Again, cheating is not okay. I'm not condoning it. But guys by nature, it's according to the Torah, right? A guy I don't know halakhically or not, used to be able to have more than one wife.
This is what you're gonna try and tell the woman who's saying he's cheated on me, that you're just saying it's his nature, or you're gonna...
It's not that it's his nature. Again, figure out the reason why he's cheating. Say, because usually women will blame themselves. Am I ugly enough? Did I gain weight? Am I fat? Am I this? Am I a terrible wife? Am I a terrible mother? But sometimes, a guy by nature, it's not because the wife ever did anything. It's because if you're put into a position, let's say you're hanging out with your guy friends, right? And you're in a place and you're drinking. Okay, let's say you're drinking.
I don't drink, but I get the muscle.
So sorry.
Okay. Let's say you're drinking, and then a girl's approaching you, and you're drunk, and she's starting to get a little flirtatious with you, and then something happens. Whatever the case, I'm just making up a scenario. I'm just saying that things happen in life, and is it worth throwing away 15 years or 12 years or 10 years of marriage when you have 3 kids because a guy made a mistake once or twice?
So I got that. Shira, do you want to go with your next scenario?
Sure. What if someone that either they're dating or they're married and they find out that their husband lied to them? Let's say they lent money to someone and you specifically told them not to, and they lied about it and they said they didn't, and you find out that they did, or something like that, like deceiving.
Right. So again, you would need to I would tell the person to just approach the other party, and ask them why they felt the need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And try to get the best possible answer and explanations. Because until you're going to approach the person in a nice way and ask them for an explanation, you're going to be flustering, a lot of anger,
and they'll get defensive, probably.
And get defensive, right? Exactly. Okay. And there's just no point to doing that,
Okay.
Okay, I guess I'll ask one more, and then we'll call it a day with this. What do you deal with when someone comes with addiction, whether it's gambling, some other type of addiction? Is that a deal breaker for a marriage, or is there a way to save that?
It depends. Because a person has to admit they're powerless over their addiction. That's number one. Otherwise, there's no helping anyone. If a person's going to be an alcoholic or whatever addiction they have, there's many types of addictions in the world, as I'm sure you all know. Until the person's ready to admit they have an addiction and they're powerless over their addiction, you can put them in any rehab in the world. You could have those, those big men that come in the middle of the night and drag you out, kicking and screaming. There's nothing I could do to help you until you're ready to say, I'm powerless over my addiction.
So do you think that if the husband is willing to work on it and going to rehab and admitting, and then it's possible that marriage can be saved? But if the husband is not willing to do that, then it's really
not salvageable, unfortunately.
Right here.
That's the one thing I have to say is that
there are cases where it's dead on arrival, I guess, when it comes to you, I mean. So, the case comes and you're like, sorry, I don't think I can fix this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think we're almost about out of time. And I want to thank Fay so much for joining our podcast. She was an incredible person. If you're looking to get married, you have Fay right here who you could reach out to.
I'm on Facebook, Match by Fay. I'm on Instagram, Match by Fay. You can reach out to me. You can send me a friend request. You can send me a request. Also having a couple of events coming up. Exciting.
Oh, that's right. Events.
I'm making now a middle of putting together, which is going to be put out later today, a flyer, Memorial Day Singles Barbecue, which is going to be Sunday, May 24th. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to do it from 5:30 to 10. In Muncie. I will send the details out later. And then I'm doing also a July 4th Shabbaton in a hotel in Albany, a kosher hotel upstate in Albany. It's not that far away. It's like 2 hours from Muncie, I think. About 2.5 to 3 hours from the other areas. It's not so crazy far. And I was supposed to do something for Shavuos for singles, but I was literally breaking my back trying to find a hotel that's not going to charge astronomical prices, because I am not here, like I said before, to pinch people's pennies and charge a fortune of money for singles to be able to go away for a weekend or a Shavuos. I thought the prices they were charging in these hotels were crazy because it's not just Shavuos, but it's also Memorial Day weekend. Right. So on top of that, so it's a 3-night stay and 4 days total. It would have been crazy expensive, and for me to charge singles $1,000 is not happening.
Right. So wow, so you do events too?
Yeah, I do events too.
Okay.
I also do storytelling. I do voices. I do children's stories. I wrote a children's book I'm trying to publish. I could.
Wow.
Yeah. Sure. If you don't use her as a shotgun, maybe we'll go to one of our events.
100%. Maybe.
Totally come. Yeah. Come to my barbecue.
That'd be fun.
You never know. So I found this hotel in Albany. It's willing to work with me, and Bezrat Hashem, we're going to finalize the details for that. But
okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Next week, we have a very interesting guest, someone I've known for 6-7 years. And he is, I don't think Fay and him would agree on every issue, but he's definitely someone you don't want to miss. His name is Shami, and that's coming up for episode 3.